Hey everybody, what's going on? It is James here with Crypto Common Sense and wanted to shoot a market update video for you. It's just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon on August 28th. Before I get into today's content, please remember it does me a huge favor if you'll go ahead and hit a like on this video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And do me a favor, take just a quick second and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the content when you're finished. So let's talk about the market. What the heck's going on? Well, it's a good day to be a bear. Well, first things first, this is the weekly chart. This is a Coinbase chart. These were the two different trend lines that I had talked about in previous videos. I felt like either one of them could be, a viable trend. Let's go ahead and get rid of the red one because, well, actually we'll leave it there. So basically this red trend, I felt like that was the trend and that we had come up and tested it and failed. And then this yellow one was kind of like the bull's last hope that we were bouncing off of. And we've now broke through that very convincingly. Okay, we haven't closed yet. It's a weekly candle. It's only Wednesday, so time will tell. I'm going to get rid of that chart. This is our total market cap chart. This is the chart that I said in yesterday or the day before's video that we kept pinging off the 23.6 fib, and the more times it pinged into it, the more likely it was to break. We have now completely demolished the 23.6 fib. We're way underneath it, and in fact, we are currently sitting underneath the neckline for our head and shoulders. But remember, this is a weekly head and shoulders, so the same deal applies. It's not confirmed until the price closes below that level. Okay, so that level's right around $244 billion. Right now we're sitting at about $242 billion. So we need to close underneath that to get a confirmed head and shoulders, and also close underneath the 23.6 fib would be bearish. You can see we've come down below it several times before, and we just keep popping it back above it. So this could be one giant bear trap. Keep that in mind. If we look at a daily chart, same deal. We sneak under that fib, but we just keep popping right above it to close. And I'd really like to see it close underneath it before I'm going to be convinced that it's time to go complete full bear. And by full bear, I mean opening some crazy shorts. This is our daily chart on Bitcoin. This is the descending triangle that I've been watching now for quite some time, and you can see that on RSI we also have a descending triangle. While on the price side of things, we're actually still inside of that triangle. On the RSI, we are not. 97.50 was the level that I mentioned in previous videos about being a key level of support. We are currently sitting underneath it, but again, this is a daily candle. It does not close for another 3 hours. A lot can happen in 3 hours. But if we don't pop back up there, if we close where we're at or lower, we're going to close underneath this descending triangle in RSI, and that's going to be a very bearish sign indeed. So if you remember, this triangle actually does have a target down at around 4,300 bucks. You can see it here. It's actually drawn on the chart. That would go all the way down here and fill in some of these volume gaps. But I want to be very clear about this. I don't think that price, even if we get there, I don't think it's going to do this. Okay. Markets don't move in straight lines. That would be absolutely wonderful if it did, because that would be low anxiety, be very easy to buy, hurrah. That's not normally what happens. It's very likely that even if we do go down there, we're probably going to see some type of action, down, dead cat bounce, maybe down around 7,000, consolidate, down, more like that. It's going to be a painful, slow grind down to that level if we get that low, I think. Okay, it could be wrong. It could be fast and violent, but I don't think so. I think it would probably be a slow grind, basically consolidating throughout the end of 2019. So, am I a buyer before then? I am a buyer before then. I do have bids layered starting up in the mid 7,000 range, and what I'll watch for is if I get in around, say, 7,500, for example, I'll be looking to sell the bounce, and then what I would do is put a stop loss. So for example, if I buy here and sell here, I'd be looking to buy back down here and sell here, and basically buy the dip, sell the rally, with stop losses set above that. So if I'm wrong and it does start going back up, that I can get my coins back. All right, so that's how I'm intending to play that if it goes the way I think it's going to go. So this here is actually our 4-hour chart, and I actually did crack open a short on this thing on the top of this candle, or right at the top of this candle. And the reason that I cracked that short open, I'll just tell you real quick, it wasn't a hard decision. This was the symmetrical triangle that I've been talking about now for a couple of days. I felt like this line here, in fact, let me just color code them. I felt like this yellow line was the real triangle, and I felt like this red line was actually a bull trap. and I talked about this a few days ago. So if we came down, basically I felt like we were going to come back up, test the underside of this real triangle, and then we were going to dump. And the reason I thought that is because of the RSI, right? We had fallen out of the RSI triangle way back here around the close 2 days ago, and we had basically just been hanging out below it, and we had come back to retest the trend line from the bottom side right about the same time we were testing this triangle from the bottom side. So this was a very, very easy short to take. The only thing I did wrong, and I didn't really do it wrong, but the only thing that I didn't get quite right was I closed the short around 9,800 because I didn't think we were going to fall this far this fast. I really felt like we would probably go down to like that 9,800, and then I thought we'd get a bounce up to 10. So the goal was to close it here, reopen it at 10, and then ride it down further. And in fact, I closed it at 9,800-ish. In fact, let me just give you the exact number. I don't want to lie. So I actually closed it at $9,814.20. And, it would have been nice if I would have, went ahead and rode it the rest of the way down. Could have got another $250, $300 per Bitcoin. But I'm never going to complain about a 4% trade that took less than 2 hours, right? I actually went short. Looks like I went short at 11:14 a.m. And I closed the trade at 1:15 p.m. So 2 hours and 1 minute for a 4% gain. I will take that all day, every day. But right now I'm not in any open positions. I did close my shorts. And again, the reason I closed those shorts is I really felt like we were going to get some type of bounce, maybe back up to the $10,000 level. I'm not so sure about that now. I'm not really sure what's going to happen, right? It didn't bounce near as quickly as what I thought it was going to. If we look at a 5-minute chart, I figured we would come down, stop around this level, and then, by the way, these fibs were not there yet. Right, so it looked like this. I figured we come down to 9,800, bounce up to 10, and then keep going down. But instead, we went sideways. So now there's a couple different things I'm watching, and this is a 5-minute chart. This could just do a BART, right? An upside down BART like this, boom, right back up. All right, just trap the bears, and completely wreck them by suddenly going up. Or it could be that all we're doing is consolidating a little bit before we do this. And here's the deal. I think either one of those are very valid possibilities. If we measure the move, though, I think the bearish one is probably more likely. Not likely enough that I'm going to open a short just on a gamble. I'm still going to wait for a setup. But if we measure that, that's a $747 move. We pull this over here and we just kind of quickly eyeball this. That's going to give us a price target of down around $9,000. Now, stop and think about what $9,000 is. It is the bottom, or just under the bottom, of our descending triangle. So does that target make sense? It absolutely makes sense, and I think that's probably the most likely scenario, is that we are going to go down to $9,000 maybe in the next 24 hours, maybe in the next couple of days. It's hard to say when, but that's kind of what I'm expecting. What I'm hoping for as a trader is I'm hoping we get some type of dead cat bounce. Up to this $10,000 level would be awesome, because that would be up testing our 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart. And I would probably, depending on what else was going on in the charts, probably looking to open a whole nother short position right at this level that I could ride down to that $9,000 zone. Okay. Overall, though, I'm very bearish. I'm sure nobody's surprised by that. I was bearish when everybody was bullish, or when a lot of people were still bullish. Now people are starting to get bearish. So, of course, I'm still bearish. I'm really, really interested to see where this thing goes. Litecoin and most of the alts got completely murdered on that drop. If we go take a look at Litecoin, I'm so glad that I'm still short on Litecoin. This thing absolutely smashed the bulls. If we take a look, this is a 5-minute candle. In a single 5-minute candle, this thing from open to close dropped 6.8%. And from open to the bottom of this tail was almost 10%, right? That is just freaking brutal. So here we are 2 months ago. People were all excited about the halving, talking about we're going, to $1,000 Litecoin, $500 Litecoin, $250 Litecoin. I took a lot of shit when I sold my Litecoin, and now we're down, over 50%. If we take a look at this on a daily chart, and again, let's get rid of the lines. From the high at this point, and I want you guys to really think about this. I'm going to tell you something in just a second about my own story. We're down 56%. All right. So Litecoin was one of the coins that taught me the most about trading, because I actually bought Litecoin. I bought Litecoin to hold right around $50 back in 2017. I bought it down in the 20s, but I was trading it. So I bought it to hold around 50. I held it all the way to 420 bucks. Okay, 419, whatever it was on this candle here. No, 420. Held it all the way up. Didn't sell any of it. And then I held that same Litecoin, those same 50 Litecoin. I bought more all through 2018, but I actually held those original 50 all the way down to the bottom. And those original 50 were part of the ones that I sold. I actually sold those for about $100 when it had this big run up back in April. Okay, learn my lesson, right? You'll never catch me holding an alt that is pumped several 100% again, right? That will never happen. Okay, coins retrace, assets retrace. It's just what they do. It's what Bitcoin is doing right now. And Litecoin is listen to me. Litecoin is a leading indicator for Bitcoin. Okay, if you look at Litecoin, it often leads the way. It'll do something and then Bitcoin will slowly follow behind it. And if you look at this year was no different. Litecoin pumped before Bitcoin did. Litecoin started to correct before Bitcoin did. Litecoin is a really good indicator of what's coming. And in fact, look at this. You can actually see here, while Litecoin pumped up, Bitcoin continued going sideways. And then Bitcoin pumped up. And then Litecoin pumped up here. And now Litecoin is coming down. Okay? So Bitcoin really has not come down. This orange line is Bitcoin. It's just been moving sideways. But it tends to follow. So remember, right? That's what I think is going on. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. Total market cap. I saw somebody on Twitter a while ago. You know, these Twitter people. I don't mean to always rag on them. There's some really good people on Twitter, so I want to be very clear about that. You know, I notice myself saying that a lot. Oh, these Twitter people. Listen, there's good and bad people on Twitter. It's just that for some reason, all the people in my feed are permanent bulls, right? They won't even like consider a bearish point of view. So I saw them today talking about how Bitcoin's dominance was getting ready to skyrocket. Okay, if I draw a wedge, a rising wedge on this total dominance chart, here's what I'm saying. This is the wedge that looks valid to me. And to me, it looks like we closed yesterday right on the line. That's a weekly chart. My apologies. We closed last week right on the line, okay? And to me, it looks like all we did was come up and try to test the bottom side of this wedge, okay? Let's zoom out and maybe draw a trend line a little bit different and see if we find something different on the daily here. No, it looks the same to me. Okay, the daily chart. This is what I see. I see a rising wedge on total market cap dominance. Sorry, not total market cap, but Bitcoin dominance. And to me, it looks like we've come up and we're trying to test the underside of this wedge. Now, what do I think is going to happen? That is what I think is going to happen. Okay, but overall, this is just bearish, right? If we take a look at the, let's just go look at a, I don't know, how about a weekly? Let's get rid of RSI. Let's get rid of volume. So we got a nice clean chart. You can see here that the 12 EMA was basically holding a support in the weekly. Ping, 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 right? That's sitting around 98.63. We completely smashed through it. Again, same story. The more times you bash into a line of support or bash into a line of resistance, the weaker it gets. All right. So it finally caved, and now we're underneath it. And the next level is going to be down around 85.81. It's the 26 EMA, way down to 85.81. Okay. So that does not look good for the bulls. Looks great for the bears. Also, we had a daily head and shoulders, and you know, I called this the head and shoulders, and then somebody asked about it needing to be at the top of a rally, and I kind of agree with that. You know, usually if you go by textbook, this should be at the top of a trend, not a continuation pattern. So I think this is up for debate whether this is a real head and shoulders, but I have seen other people who I respect, and they're also calling this a head and shoulders. So I don't know. I don't really know, but I'm calling it a head and shoulders, okay? This is a daily head and shoulders, and our neckline here was 94.70. So that's a level that I'm watching with a lot of interest, 94.70. We did not break it here. We got down to 95.22, so we stayed above this neck, okay? So if we have a neckline, if our neckline is right here, I'd like to see us break that. That would make me feel good, okay, about being a bear. Our 200 EMA on the daily, guess what? It's way down here around 83.57. So again, that's looking good for a fill, that CME gap. And if we look at our weekly, I said this, I believe, yesterday or the day before. I absolutely believe this is a head and shoulders, and I absolutely believe it's been confirmed. Okay. As soon as we closed underneath that, I felt like that was a confirmed head and shoulders. And again, that head and shoulders has the same target as the descending triangle down around 4,400 bucks. So this is a really exciting time for me as a bear. But the one thing I will say is be very careful about how you trade this if you're a trader, okay? Because we all know this market likes to play tricks, and we all know this market likes to set traps. And even if it is going down, it's completely possible that it's going to get some type of pump. And it may go 9,800, it may go 10,000, it may go 10,200. It may be a much bigger pump than what we're even expecting or suspecting. And it may be that they're going to try to liquidate any shorts that suddenly open up, right? So be very careful how you trade this. If this thing does pump up and test this 200 EMA, and if I can find a good short position to go short on a swing trade, I'll probably have my stop loss set up around 10.3, 10.4. But there's a possibility that one of those nasty candles gets up there and stops me out. So I'll have to be keeping an eye on that trade. Okay, it's not easy to trade this. Even though I believe it's going down, it's still not easy to trade it. Right? It's a tough call. But I probably will end up going short on a swing trade. What I'd really like to see though is, right now we're reaching into very close to oversold conditions on the 4 hour. We are absolutely completely oversold on the 1 hour. So typically when you get that, you start getting some type of bounce. It may not be an actual rally, it may just be a dead cat bounce, but I don't want to go short right before the market tries to have some kind of bounce. Okay, so that's what I'm waiting for. And if it just goes down and it doesn't bounce, that's totally fine. I have my position trades open. Again, I sold all of my Bitcoin for an average of 8,800 bucks. Sold all of my Litecoin for an average of somewhere around 127 bucks. So I had those position trades open. But I'd like to ideally get a short on top of that. So we will see. With all that being said, this video is getting way too long. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up there. Please remember, I am literally some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing in this video is financial advice. You should always do your own due diligence before making any type of investment in cryptocurrency. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure and give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, don't forget you can check the description for links where you can follow me on TradingView, Twitter, and also where you can join my free Facebook group. This is James with Crypto Common Sense. Trade safe.